Hello, my name is Ethan Crawford, and I'm going to be reading my essay, A Father Figure, about my dad, Peter Crawford, and his battle with non-small cell carcinoma. My father passed away from cancer when I was 9. I know their next words after this statement. I'm so sorry. Why? Because the thought of a 9-year-old boy crying himself to sleep for months makes you feel sympathy? Or that you know me now and I just blindsided you with an 8-wheeler of emotional weight? And if I were to ask why you are so sorry, how would you respond? I'm so sorry is what I hear from friends, family, teachers, and counselors, from everyone when they learn enough about me to get to Peter and his struggle with non-small cell carcinoma. My father was not perfect. No one is, and it would be shameful to uptalk him, so I will be truthful. He poured his love into our family, his passion into his work, and imagination into his children. My sister and I replicate him. We are pieces of him. No one is perfect, but he passed on the pieces he deemed most pure to his children. When I was 2, I learned how to swim. At 3, how to care for others through my newborn sister. And at 4, how to bike. By the time I was 5, unknown to me or my father, I only had 4 years left. 4 years to be molded into a well-rounded human being. Packing up, our family left Spokane and moved to Redding, California. He always dreamt of this town to pursue his love for cacti, which later scattered our yard in beautiful desert displays. Our family moved there for him. Unknown to me, he had been struggling with depression his whole life. The move helped him. In this town I met my father. I began to really grasp his personality, both before and after his death. He loved that little Northern California town. I could open up wounds of grief, of late nights and uncomfortable hospital chairs, but that is just one side of the story. Pain, a feeling of hurt and anger. Pain truly does deserve a spot in this story, but pain is only as big as it's seen. It covers up everything else. It is a selfish feeling. Pain from watching my father shrivel away, from seeing my family break down, seeing my grandfather cry. That feeling can be selfish when pointed back at yourself, the pain that you feel, not questioning others at the time. Instead of seeing a father broken down, I saw a man fight something so incomprehensive doctors couldn't diagnose it. I saw a single mother of 2 hold together through the hardest time in her life, making decisions, protecting her children, packing up, leaving a town her husband loved just for a better chance for her and her kids. I saw parents of a dying son stay strong for their grandchildren and daughter-in-law. Cancer does not end life. It just expedites the process. Through this struggle, my father broke down faster than he would have intended. He didn't have a lifetime to pass on wisdom, energy, and love to me. He had less than a year. Parents grow old and watch their children grow up. He did not get to see me grow up. He was 5 years from me learning to drive, 9 from me graduating high school, and 12 years from being able to sit down and sip a beer and talk about life. So how did he expedite passing on who he was? To answer my own question, how does a parent with cancer pass on their knowledge before death? They don't. That would be too hard. Seriously, they already have cancer. They do not need the stress. They need to live in the moment, and that's how it passes on. Through them living in the moment, being with their families, their friends, wife or husband, and their children. The ones who spent time with them while he lived then carried the responsibility of passing on his stories, passing him on. For me, hearing a story about my father only builds my admiration for him. 9 years with my dad, 9 years without. I've learned more in the last 9 than the first. He raised me in the first. He gave me a foundation to start my life. And then the last 9 has been used to learn who he was. This isn't a happy story, and I'm not happy my father had the life sucked away from him. I grieve every time I hear his name, but before leaving, he lived. That was his job, to live in the moment so that I could remember him for an eternity. Why do stories of cancer leave somber tones? They should be celebrated. Stories of survivors, of heroes and heroines, stories of fighters, of family members, people who could not make it to where we are today just because they were paving the way. Not just medically, not just in new breakthroughs in medication or cancer treatments, but the people around them. My father not only fought, not only helped further cancer treatments, not only molded me to who I am, he lived. I could say I'm broken, that losing him was like losing a piece of myself. But that's not true. Things that are broken stay broken because they are not useful. His death affected me. I'd be lying saying it didn't. I was sad, full of anger, and empty. The main point is that as a past tense verb, was. Instead of sadness, I bear joy. Joy that a man who was so strong, loving, and lively raised me. Instead of anger, I bear peace. Peace knowing that my father is not in pain, that my father's death was not in vain, and that it was used to further knowledge. Instead of emptiness, I am content. Content with where I am in life and how I got here.